Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the week 2 of the ALTTPR League. This week is It's Mitts, Falcon, represented by Falcon, and Team Hottish, represented by Sneaky Wombat. This is the Ambrosia week. My name is Arusta, and my co-commentator today is Tyler Salt. Tyler, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, looking forward to some Ambrosia tonight. It should be a fun time.
Yeah, and so we should be getting started here in just a sec. For those of you who aren't familiar with Ambrosia, essentially what it is it is a standard start. So you start in Link's house with Uncle, just like you normally would in the vanilla game. Uncle gives you a hint about where the boots are. For example, he might say Light World, which could be anywhere in Light World. And then after you go through escape, it's the normal 7/7 defeat cannon. So looks like we're off right here.
And we're off, and apparently the boots are in Ganon's tower. So I hope you like walking.
And there's also a Bombos medallion there in Link's house. Very nice item to start off with. One less medallion.
Got a map check there. I saw a 5/6 crystal up at Hera, but I did not catch either of the other ones. We'll see when Sneaky Wombat gives us his map check there. We get 10 arrows from Uncle. one of the other features, as we see the flute over there in the secret passage chest, one of the other features of Ambrosia, along with that spoiler to the boots location, is you are guaranteed to have a sword once you talk to Uncle. And then once we get into the dungeons, each dungeon boss is guaranteed to have some kind of item that isn't a dungeon item. So no keys, no map, no compass on each boss. An important thing for our runners to keep in mind.
Yeah, and the one thing that really is worth paying attention to with that is that if you go into a dungeon with only 2 items, for example, like Skull Woods, it makes some of those plays a lot more risky if you don't have the fire rod and you know you can't get Mothula, because it means you're going in there for just 1 item.
So we see Wombat with the Wombat Man, I guess, sprite headed down into the escape sequence.
So one of the nice things about standard mode, for those of you who haven't played it or who it's been a while, is that they will, even if they don't get lamp, they will get a free light cone in the sewers, just like you would in a normal vanilla playthrough. Vanilla playthrough, of course, you'd be forced to get lamp, but they will have that light cone. However, if they need to leave and come back later for whatever reason, they would not then have the light cone if they came back.
Ooh, as we see the Moon Pearl there in the Boomerang chest. So there's 1/3 of our Dark World access already before we even get out of Hyrule Castle.
Yep, and just a bit of background on the runners for those of you who aren't familiar. So this is, as I said, the first game of week 2 between these 2 teams. Its Mitts was 1-1 in the first week, and then Team Hot Dish unfortunately lost their first 2 games in the first week, and that's a rough death there by Wombat.
Oh man, maybe one of the worst deaths in the game, right down there in Zelda's cell. There's a long way you have to go to get back there. Unfortunately, that is going to put Sneaky Wombat in a hole right away. One other thing that you'll see our runners do through here is maybe more than you might think, kill some of the enemies going in through here as they've opened the first couple chests. They're going to be looking for bombs here throughout the opening, so that they can try to get the 3 chests in the back of Escape on their first pass through to not have to come back here later. So we might see our runners do a little bit more of that as they make their way through the escape sequence.
Yeah, and you will especially see that when they get to the back of Escape, where they have the where they have the rats, they have the bats, and then I believe there's actually a 3rd type of enemy buried in there somewhere. There's
snakes,
only one in Escape.
Yeah,
the snakes. Yep.
Falcon and Princess Zelda making their way up the stairs to the throne room. They'll push that throne out of the way, just like you would in the vanilla game. Head into the Dark Cross area. Sneaky Wombat has made his way back down to Zelda's cell there. And he's headed.
Yeah, and note that Sneaky Wombat there used the pots, which is always a good strategy in the standard if you don't have a lot of weapons, because those pots do essentially 2 pots will kill the enemies for you.
Falcon makes his way through the rope room. Unfortunately, does not get any drops there. Not bombs, at least. 20 rupees in the chest. We'll see a couple more farming attempts here. Falcon takes down the true boss of the escape sequence, that rat with the key. It's always good. A couple more tries here for a bomb. Will Falcon get the drop? Looks like no. So Falcon at least is going to have to come back into the back of escape once the power glove is found.
Yeah, and that'll be an interesting thing to see if the same thing happens to Sneaky, just how they route this, because knowing that you've had the chance to come down here and you missed it, that very well might be a thing they put off for a while, even if they get bombs, just to say, let's wait.
And of course, there are bombs in the sanctuary chest, because why wouldn't there be?
Yeah, I was not counting items in Sanctuary, so I don't know if they saw the map or not. Because really, when you're doing standard like this, you want to track the map, because you're going to find the key because you have to, and then the map is the only non-item outside of the key. So that would tell you if there are 2 or 3 items and maybe affect how soon you want to waste time coming back here.
Yeah, I did not see the map there, but there is an ice rod in Lost Woods for Falcon. So thereby almost guaranteeing that we're going to have Pendant Turtle Rock, because it always seems to work out that way when you get an early ice rod. Oh, and Sneaky gets that bomb drop from one of the rats. So hopefully it pays off. We'll see as Falcon makes their way into Kakariko Village. Big 20, there's that map. And just 5 rupees. So that is a tough break there. We'll see if Falcon, probably not too much of a time loss there for Wombat, because I imagine that Falcon will make a dip in there when they get the power gloves. We'll see though.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect at some point Falcon's going to go in there, and that might actually make up at least a little bit of the time Sneaky lost with that unfortunate death.
Some health, but half magic there in Lion's Hut. Always a nice thing to find early. A little bit of safety there. Another heart piece. Now, I don't think that we saw a lumberjack check from Falcon, so we'll see if Sneaky heads up there to check that location. Looks like that might be the plan. The lumberjack ledge, of course, always an interesting choice to check. In order to access it, you need the boots, and you need to have defeated Aga 1, as Falcon finds a bottle and the fire rod there in the Kakariko well. Sneaky getting a nice bomb bush crab there. So Sneaky is going to give us a look at the lumberjack ledge. Give that information that Sneaky will have that Falcon will not. And it is... Ooh, it's a sword. That could be interesting. You never know.
Yeah, you have to think that's going to be one of those things that, unless Sneaky is forced to do Aga for another reason, for example, to access parts of Dark World, you'd really probably put that off for a while and just hope you can find a sword elsewhere. Also, to answer a question in chat, the boots hint was Ganon's tower.
Yeah, so that makes that sword, let's be honest, probably not going to matter, because of course you need the boots in order to do it. So I imagine that's not going to trouble our runners too much.
Yeah, and in fact, that might be part of the reason Falcon decided not to waste the time checking it out. Okay, just the is crystal on Eastern Palace, red crystal on Hera, and then just a pendant on Desert Palace. But what I was going to say is knowing that boots are in Ganon's tower and therefore are not technically required until very, very late, maybe that's the reason he decided to skip Lumberjack, knowing that it's very unlikely he'll need whatever's there.
Oh, and Falcon smartly skipping the library check as well for the same reason. Saving a couple seconds. That's nice. I was a little surprised to not see Falcon. If you get what I like to do when I get the flute this early is actually once I'm finished with my Kakariko checks, is Falcon seated there, picks up his bug net that had been underneath the water at the dam. I like to flute over to 6, over to the desert, and use that as maybe the best way to route in Agina, especially considering desert is a pendant. But always have to fight a little bit of muscle memory to do that.
Yeah, and the other benefit there, of course, is as you're doing that, you get the desert ledge check, which, since it's a pendant, is this kind of thing that's good to know early, so you know if there's something up there you might eventually need.
Now we'll see what mini Moldorm Cave has to offer on Falcon's side. 300 rupees, a full heart container. Big 20.
And it looks like Falcon is going to go check Ice Rod Cave, very smartly using the flute to save a few seconds there rather than walking that extra screen.
Yeah, got to save those seconds wherever you can. I saw that we got the magic powder there from Sick Kid. Show me a bottle, I'll give you my drugs. And there is the bow on Ice Rod Cave. So you have to hope for sneaky sake that he makes his way over there. The bow is 100% going to be required here, since Eastern Palace is a crystal.
Yes, and it's also worth noting that with that bow and the fire rod, Armos is in logic. There is one check, the vanilla big key chest, which isn't in logic, but at this level of the league, I am pretty sure both of them can handle that dark room if they need to.
And remembering that this is Ambrosia, and so we know that Armos, that one of the 3 items in Eastern Palace is gonna be on Armos Knights, and so the chances that vanilla big key chests are going to matter are even less than they would be normally. There's our Power Glove and the Flippers there. Sahasrara coming in large with 2 unique items in his closet. And we have full Dark World access now. So we see Sneaky doing what I suggested earlier and looping in that Agina check. We saw 300 rupees there on the desert ledge. Sneaky's really hoping for something good here in Agina's cave. Unfortunately, just a piece of art.
Yeah, and you have to hope for Sneaky's sake here that he goes straight to do these South Shore checks. Because that hammer and that bow will really, really... If he goes somewhere else, I can't imagine where he'd go, but that would put him way behind if he didn't.
Well, he's going to Death Mountain here. So I don't know that I like this. I mean, he obviously he took that death and escape. He has to know that he's behind here. So I guess this is a gamble, but man, I can't say that I like this. We'll see. It could very well pay off, and when you know you're behind, you start to make some kind of maybe riskier decisions. But we know at least that that South Shore check. It's not like he's going to not do those checks, right? He'll go down to the land. He'll go to maybe Moldorm Cave. But having that hammer early, having that bow early from Ice Rod Cave, really, really going to be helpful.
Right, and the big thing here that might help Falcon out if he could find mirror or hook shot somewhere in Eastern is that it would, cut down on the time, whereas Sneaky's basically doing this for the old man save point and then one other item.
We did see Falcon pull both the compass and the map in the front checks in Eastern, so Falcon will have to go do that vanilla big key chest for the second item. The third item, of course, guaranteed to be on Armos Knights.
And on the top of Spectacle Rock, there was nothing. Inside Spectacle Rock Cave, there was also nothing.
An unfortunate gamble for Sneaky Wombat as he flutes to 7.
Falcon doing a very nice job with the dark rooms there. No trouble whatsoever. Very nicely done.
Ooh, there's the book there in the vanilla big key chest in Eastern. Falcon now can read some stuff. That's access to Desert Palace, as well as, once we get the Master Sword, the ability to do the checks on the Ether and Bombos tab.
Yeah, and also just to call out, some very nice awareness there by Falcon. If you saw right after he got the big key there, he went down and just got a heart out of that pot. Very good awareness to realize he was down to 1.5 hearts and maybe wanted a little extra safety for these rooms up here.
Yep, and I was about to call out the fact that he was only at 19 arrows. You need 18 if you're going to be perfect on Armos Knights. Good game knowledge there to pick up those 5 arrows in that pot as well. Of course, there are plenty of arrows in this next room if you need them. Falcon setting up for the Armos quick kill in the upper right-hand corner. 5 arrows to the right. A whole mess of them down. And there it is, Armos Knights down. There's that last item, 50 rupees, crystal number 1 for Falcon at 1919 into the sea.
And you'll see Sneaky Wombat is going to do Ice Rod Cave. That's very good. That's a location that people would often skip if they feel behind, but that would have we know at least that would put him way behind if he unfortunately skipped that.
Looks like Falcon is going to jump right into the Dark World now with his hammer, Moon Pearl, and glove. This is in logic, so hopefully we will get a map check here in just a second, see where our last 2 pendants are. Falcon's gonna, there we go. I see a pendant Turtle Rock.
And green pendant Swamp.
Green pendant Swamp, ooh.
And I
never
didn't
love to
see
see
exactly where it was. I think the red pendant was Thieves Town, but
Red
it was
Crystal,
either
yeah.
Thieves Town or Red Crystals, yes.
Well, we shall see. I did not quite catch that one either. 10 bombs in Hype Cave along with 10 arrows. 10 arrows, 3 bombs, 5 rupees, just like, can you get negative hype? That was terrible. As he leaves the frustration bomb on the proprietor. That's good.
Meanwhile, looks like Sneaky's basically retracing the steps here. Going to go Eastern Palace, which, since it's a clearable crystal, makes plenty of sense here.
As Falcon making their way up into the Palace of Darkness area. I like this. You've got the Fire Rod, and so logically, you have access to all of the chests except the ones on the Dark Maze and the big chest. And with the Fire Rod, you can get to Helm King. It's not in logic, but it is definitely possible to do without the lamp. So we pay Kiki the Extortionist 100 rupees to open up the palace. Here's one of the 4 keys that have to be in the front of Pod.
To answer a question in chat, the risky play Sneakbat did was going up to Death Mountain without lamp, so it was out of Old Man was out of logic, and without mirror, hammer, hook shot, so could only do the spectacle rock checks, and it did not pay off. There was nothing on any of those checks.
Falcon making their way back over to the Bowlock side of Pod. Has found 2 keys so far. Hoping for 1 key out of these chests, I would think. So if you get 1 key out of here, you can probably end up skipping that. Well, you can. If you get 1 key here, and only 1 key here, you can skip the vanilla big key chest. There's that 1 key. And another key. So alas, Falcon will probably have to go back in there to see what's in that vanilla big key chest. We'll see.
Yeah, just a note for our viewers. There actually can be up to 6 keys in the front of Pod. You're just guaranteed 4. So once you get more than 4, you don't necessarily know what that last item is. It's entirely possible that he could be trading a key for a key in the play he's about to make, but there's no way to know that, so...
Oh, and it was an item. It was the Ether Medallion. Could be necessary.
Sneakbat very wisely dropping in to get those fairies from the pots there, which makes a lot of sense, knowing that you only have going with 1 heart, and a death here would be really costly.
Little trouble with those Igors, but does manage to get that key.
Falcon getting trolled a little bit by the mini Helma, and so just falling off to reset the room.
Now these checks down here in the basement, it is a dark room, but it is in logic because Falcon does have the fire rod. Not even gonna bother with it though. There's the compass and a piece of heart.
Yeah, and for those of you who are wondering why Falcon skipped the harmless hellway there, if you route it like he did, where you come out of the back before going to Dark Maze, if you have 2 small keys coming out of the basement there, you know guaranteed that harmless hellway has to be a key, because otherwise you can't finish the dungeon.
Sneakbat having a little bit of trouble with that Armos quick kill, takes a hit right at the top, but recovers nicely and gets his first crystal at 27:32 or so.
Yeah, so for those of you counting, I believe it was about 18:30 or so, so it's pretty much a 9-minute difference, and that's due to Sneakbat's unfortunate trip up to Death Mountain and the unfortunate death in Escape.
Sneakbat not jumping right into the dark world like Falcon did. Going to show us some flippers checks.
Meanwhile, Falcon's setting up for a death warp here, which without Mir makes a lot of sense.
Did we see anything of note in the Dark Maze rooms? I don't think that we did. We should have that one.
No, I believe. Well, no, he's got mitts, so that might have been what he picked up in a Dark Maze. Because since it's a yellow item, that does not show up in the darkness due to whatever weirdness with the color scheme palette.
Good eye. So that is a sequence break. Those mitts are not in logic without the lamp. So keep that in mind as we see where Falcon starts to decide to go next. Because any of those checks that require the mitts, things like the Smith chain, anything up on Dark Death Mountain, which he doesn't quite have access to anyway. But that will not be in logic for him until we find the lamp. So it's important to keep that in mind.
Meanwhile, Sneakbat's Flipper's play here unfortunately has not paid off at all thus far. Hopefully Zora is not running scams today, because Sneakbat really needs something to help him catch up here a little bit.
The bottle up on the ledge isn't really going to do it.
Yeah, so just to give people an update based on our crystal layout here, what's still needed is Samaria in order to get through Mire, a second sword, of course, for Ganon, and, well, hookshot's always nice if you can't hover. But I think that might be it, because we know boots are in Ganon's tower. Mir is only required if... Maybe Quake. Mir is only required for Swamp. It's not necessarily required for the rest. So yeah, we are potentially as few as 2 items from Go mode here.
Which is crazy to think, just 30 minutes into the seed. The seed's been pretty generous so far.
Also, just to call it out, Falcon did a very smart thing there in lighting up that fire rod in that dark room, the turtle room, because that room can be pretty trolly if you're trying to do it completely in the dark.
Smartly pulls out that blue potion to make it through here. As we head into the Helmasaur King fight, 17 bonks in the face with the hammer.
Meanwhile, Sneak Bat looks like he's going to go into Dark World through the portal north of Village of Outcasts, which is a part of the seed we have not yet seen from Falcon, because Falcon started near Hype Cave and has done the south loop there. And just to confirm, yes, the other red crystal is Thieves Town.
Falcon, Helmster King playing very nice with him in phase 2, get the spin off, and then just able to unload arrows into that gem, picks up the blue mail and his second crystal for his trouble.
Yeah, which we didn't call it out at the time, I think, but the other male is sitting on Lake Hylia Island, so you have to assume if they get near, maybe you go there, but it's definitely not something you'd go out of your way for.
Yeah, Mitts were in the dark maze of Palace of Darkness is where those were. As we see Falcon making his way into the back of Escape. This is something that we were able to see from Sneak Bat a little bit earlier. He found a bomb. Unfortunately, we know that this is going to come up dry.
Yeah, Sneak Bat setting up for the bomb jump here.
Just a key here.
Okay, so to answer a channel or question in chat, so this channel is the ALTTPR League. They also have, I believe, 3 or 4 other ALTTPR League channels, and there's a lot of the restreams are also on Speed Gaming, which Speed Gaming goes Speed Gaming 1 up to, I believe, Speed Gaming 6 right now. The best way to check the schedule, it's on the ALTTPR League website, which is altgprleague.com. Meanwhile, Falcon is basically in the same spot right now. Runners are doing a handshake as they walk by. Interestingly, it looks like Falcon is going to go straight to the back here with Fire Rod, which I don't know how you like to route this, Tyler, but I've always thought that's, if you have to clear, you have to clear the back. I always think that's a very good play, especially in a mode like this where you know there's at least one item back there, because if you find both items back there, you can save yourself the entire front side.
Yeah, especially in Ambrosia, this is a great idea if you've got everything that you need to clear and you are confident in your Mothula fight, which is not something I can say for myself. But if you're confident in your Mothula fight, this is the clear play, especially in Ambrosia when you know Moth has one of the only 2 items in Skullwoods.
Yeah, the only downside here is that if you're thinking about doing a ped check, of course you can't do that since they don't have it. Meanwhile, Sneak Bat finds Hookshot in the C-shaped house in Village of Outcasts.
Picked up Quake at some point as well. I did not catch.
Yeah, Quake was in the game, the chest game.
Oh, chess game. All right. Well, no medallion hunts then today. There's a shield.
Yeah, and that is, for those of you who are rooting for Sneak Bat, that is actually not a good thing. You want at this point an item to be in a pretty trolly location, since he's going to be about 2 dungeons behind here after Falcon, presuming Falcon finishes off this boss. So you want something to be in a very difficult location.
Mothula is an especially tricky fight because of the way the game is coded. In order for Mothula to not take damage from spikes, when you hit him or not take damage from the spikes going around, it just cancels out damage whenever he touches a spike, even if you hit him into one. Falcon able to work around that, however. It's a big 20, I think, for his trouble, and crystal number 3.
Yeah, so at this point, if you're a Sneak Bat fan, what you really want to hope for is that Samaria is buried somewhere way out of range, because the instant Falcon gets it, even though they still need a sword, you can usually bet pretty nicely on a sword somewhere in Ganon's tower, especially since knowing that the boots are there, you presume he's going to do at least a couple checks, even if the key is right immediately. So
yeah, we know where one of the swords is. One of the swords is on Lumberjack, a ledge there. So as we get another high five there. Sneaky Bat found the hook in C-shaped house. So I imagine Falcon will get there very soon.
yeah, and the other medallion that Sneaky has, Quake, was also in the Village of Outcasts in the chess game. So both of those are ones that you have to assume Falcon is going to do right after he finishes it.
Ooh, a death there, trying to make it through the room with all the star switches there in Skull Woods. Wombat gonna give it another go. Oh, was that a death warp? I guess it looked sort of like it could have been a death warp. Now, based on how quickly he made it through the second time, then yes, that was definitely a death warp.
Yeah, the one thing to note here for those of you who are playing along at home is there is this bunny beam here, which you can actually hit with a powder if you're really desperate. You may not necessarily want to do that with the Gibdos in the previous room, but it's something that's the option's there if you need it.
See how Wombat handles the moth fight. Falcon makes his way back into the front looking for that second item in Skull Woods.
And Sneak Bat there showing off a very nice property of the fire rod that makes it especially cool for this fight is that with the little splash damage, if the initial hit hits him into the spikes, sometimes that splash damage can kick him away from the spikes and you can still do damage.
I did not know that. That's very good. We see that other item in Skullwood, which was the magic cape, as Falcon makes his way out and into the Village of Outcasts. I imagine we're going to see both players head into Thieves Town here, full clearable. Perhaps a bumper ledge check first, however.
Again, one thing to note is that Falcon is down to half a heart, so literally anything will kill him. So, and this is just like that.
Just like that. Yeah,
I was just going to say that dying in the Dark World is usually not great because it's kind of a pain to get back there, especially if you don't have, if you're like where he is, he's got to now flute back, go through the portal again.
Yeah, chat bringing up a good point that if you note that you're on that low health while you're in Skull Woods, maybe you intentionally take the death there to refill and just remain in Skull Woods, then make your way out. But not a huge time loss there, considering that he's got the mitts and the flute.
Yeah, and so just in case anyone missed it, basically Sneak Bat has already done most of the checks here that he can do, so he's going to go straight into Thieves Town. You would have to assume Falcon is probably going to at least look around in the exterior checks here, or maybe he just goes straight to the back.
That's too bad. He'll lose a little bit of time, or potentially lose a little bit of time in Thieves Town without the hook shot. Helps a little bit for movement in here.
And Sneak Bat showing off the very nice tech there to powder that hidden anti-fairy or bunny beam and then catch it. Very nice call there. especially since he's already used up his potion and had the bottle empty anyways.
Yep. Very, very smart. I like the Bruce Wayne in a suit bunny sprite there for Batman. That's good.
And so, if I was counting properly, I thought they found nothing in the front, just all the dungeon items.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. All 4 items in Thieves Town going to be in the back. Oh no. Sneaky. Where are you going? I remember when learning to play this game, vanilla, years and years ago, being completely baffled by the layout of that opening section of Thieves Town. So I can't hate on God too much for getting turned around there, hopping down where you're not supposed to.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've tested the dungeon door randomizer yet, but there are a surprising amount of doors up there at the top area, which you never go in randomizer or vanilla, which actually matter.
I tell you what, I haven't, nor do I intend to. That sounds very unfun to me. So I'm not even looking forward to cross keys mode in a couple weeks here.
It's an experience. I would do it I did it in voice chat, in a casual voice chat race with some friends, and that, I think, is the way to do it. I think if you're doing it seriously, it could get very frustrating. Yeah,
no, that sounds about the level of commitment that I would want to have in a mode of this game where all of the doors are connected up randomly. There is our lamp. There in the attic of Thieves Town.
Which, just to note, they already had the hammer and 1 glove, so those gloves, or those mitts, actually technically were in logic, just Falcon hadn't gotten here yet. He could have already had the lamp when he got there.
Good to remember.
It's a lot easier to remember when you're not playing.
Yes, that's for damn sure. Maiden's chest with a heart container. Falcon will make his way over to the big chest. Looks like Sneaky's going to check that before grabbing Blind from her cell. Another heart container over there. And another high 5.
Yeah, and without boots, I think this is pretty much the same either way. If you did have boots, you want to pick up the maiden first, because the key dash from getting into that room with the big chest is completely free. You just hit A the instant you enter the room.
Hookshot was up in Village of Outcasts in C-shaped house. To answer a question in chat.
Yeah, and since we're 45 minutes in, let's just give a quick update for anybody who's coming in late. The big difference here, if you see, Falcon has done all of Pod and found mitts in Pod, whereas Sneaky has not. The big difference that put Sneaky behind was an unfortunate death in Escape, and he did some Death Mountain checks, the Spectacle Rock check and the Old Man check for basically nothing. So that's pretty much the difference in the race at this point. Meanwhile, Falcon has a very nice blind script fight there.
Sneaky off a little bit, but has the cape out. Should be able to finish this up. And there it goes.
So at this point, the only items that we're really looking for, they will need Cane of Samaria to finish Meyer. Falcon has all 3 medallions, so there's no concern there. The only other thing outside of Samaria is a second sword. Meanwhile, Sneaky needs to go to Pod to get his second glove, his mitts, and then Ether was also in Pod. With regards to the swords, we know one is on Lumberjack, which we have to assume neither of them is getting, and the boots are in Ganon's tower, so theoretically they should be able to find more swords without necessarily needing to get the boots and then run Agaf just for that sword.
I would certainly hope so. In before the third and fourth swords in Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. That wouldn't force the Aga, but it would still be very rude. Just 20 rupees from the dig game.
It's a lot of effort for 20 rupees.
Yeah, at least you get a refund. You know, probably made back the 80 rupees you spent on the game.
The boots hint is Ganon's tower. So since this is Ambrosia mode, when you first start the game, Uncle will tell you that before he leaves the house, like in Vanilla where he talks about where he's going. As far as I know, if you miss that boots hint, if you go too quick, there's nothing you can do. So if you happen to be playing this, either pay really close attention or, maybe slow down for just a second. And you're tech smashing right at the start.
Yeah, we see Falcon not doing the boots chain here, and saving and quitting after Stumpy. Sneaky is heading off to do Hype Cave, which Falcon has already done. I wonder if Falcon is thinking about waiting to do the Smith chain until the potential mirror. It certainly makes the Smith chain a lot nicer to do. As we see the Falcon fluting over to 6, and he's going to check out the Mire area for the first time. We'll get the medallion there. Not that it matters a ton for Falcon. He's got all 3, obviously, but we'll be able to check the Mire shed here. He might not even check the medallion.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what exactly Falcon decides to do here, because as chat points out, he does have a clearable Tower of Hera if he goes through East Death Mountain and then back to West Death Mountain, and he's also got a clearable Ice Palace. You'd have to assume he's probably going to do Tower of Hera, because with mitts he can get pretty much all of Death Mountain at once if he wants.
Yeah, other than the Turtle Rock checks. I think everything else with the hook shot, the hammer, the mitts, yeah, everything else is and the cape there. Everything else is logic.
Yeah, the only thing that you need to be careful of when you're going like this, and you don't have mirror. Yeah,
and the ether tablet.
But he can't at least see what's on ether because he's got the hook. The only thing is without mirror, when you go into the Dark World, you've committed yourself to doing all the Dark World checks and then saving and quitting. So it's possible that what Falcon will do is do all the Light World checks, do Hera, and then go east and do the mirror stuff at the end, or the Dark World stuff at the end.
Yeah, that seems like the right move. You go up here, you do these Spectacle Rock checks, hop down, hook shot over, do Paradox Cave, come over, do Hera, check the Ether Tablet, Spiral Cave, then and then use the potion or the portal down there at the on the bottom edge of the mountain into Super Bunny and Hookshot, and then Spike Cave if you can.
Yep, and Falcon looked like he was going there and then probably remembered, oh wait, no mirror, don't do that.
Catfish just showing us a little love here today. Now, if you're sneaky, you have to be making your way over to Pod here. I'm not even sure, like, what else. I suppose he could head back up the mountain. But pod is full clearable. That's 5 items. I'd be hard pressed to think that that's not the plan here. Sneaky's going to turn in the mushroom first as Falcon picks up the shovel in Paradox Cave.
Oof, and just 10 arrows. That's yet another one of these overroll checks that Sneaky has done for nothing, which is... if we added them all up, it's the Zora area, it's the... I mean, he did Back of Escape before Falcon got there, he did Catfish, now he's done that. This,
Agina.
I mean, that's just not... Agina. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Falcon finding his Master Sword in Paradox Cave, putting him just a cane of Samaria away from Go Mode at this point. Just 20 rubies from the magic bat there for Wombat.
Yeah, and if you're Falcon, you have to be feeling pretty decent right now. 4 crystals down. You know you're only 1 item from Go Mode. He hasn't taken any really unfortunate deaths or anything like that. Hasn't done a whole lot of checks, which completely wasted time.
Just a piece of heart from the Ether Tablet, but Wombat making it over to that pod play. We know that this is a play that he had to make, so good to see this. We get the big key in the first room in Hera. Hera, one of those dungeons. You want to see the big key and 1 item right here is what you want to see. And nope, it's a burrito. So we've got the see Falcon gonna try to set up the Hera pot. I like doing this. Yeah, I like doing this when you have the big key.
Yeah, and especially in Ambrosia, since you know 1 item is on the boss. Really, right now, if you go upstairs, you get 3 checks, big chest, the chest in front of the big chest, and then the item you know exists. So the odds are definitely in your favor that you won't have to go back for that basement item. Oof. Trolley bumper right there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. There's the small key. He'll bomb jump over to the big chest.
So there's our item, so, yep. No need to ever go into the basement.
Hera basement, not the answer today. It usually is. It's not today.
However, the nice thing for Sneaky when he comes up here is that since that small key is in the chest right there, there's no way he'll ever be tempted into the basement because he will definitely get both items. Easy peasy.
Yep, that's definitely good for him. We head into the Troll Dorm fight. Mallet, the hammer does tempered sword damage, so just 3 thwacks to the tail. And
very nicely done.
Yep, 5 crystals now for Falcon. A lot more checks up here on the mountain, but you hope for Falcon. You have to be hoping that the Cane of Samaria is up here on the mountain and puts you in go mode. If it's not, then you got more chests to check in Ice Palace, right? You open up the possibility maybe having to go into Desert, which we haven't seen. You don't like the idea of going into Mire without being able to clear it. at this point.
Yeah, especially since Meyer and Ambrosia, you would be doing it for one item.
A single item, and you're hoping that it's the vanilla Cane of Samaria, essentially. So you really don't want to see that. So Falcon's got to be hoping real hard. This is probably the densest item. This is the densest item location that he has left. One thing you don't want to see if you're a Falcon here is the mirror, because that would, while it makes some travel around here nice, that opens up Swamp Palace for you, which is can be a very, very slow dungeon to search.
Yeah, I would think the other thing that Hera being the second red crystal is that, so now there's the dig spot since they picked up Shovel up here, and then he's also got the Pyramid Fairy. So that's 3 items which are all kind of close together, but not super easy to route in without Mir.
Falcon drops down into Super Bunny Cave for 1 rupee and 5 rupees. Hookshot Cave is next. I did not catch what was up on the floating island. I don't think it was anything important.
I think it was a big 20.
So, no, nothing important. Piece of heart so far in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, to answer a question in chat, Falcon did spiral. There was nothing in it.
Piece of heart, 2 big 20s. Oh, so close. Cane of Burna, wrong one. Still needs that Cane of Samaria. Is going to head over and do Spike Cave, however, to finish off his trip to Death Mountain.
Which makes a lot of sense here. You can do it, and then you never have to come back to Death Mountain except when you learn to climb Ganon's tower.
That was a slick hook shot on the Lionel strat. I haven't seen that. Using the hook shot to not only give yourself the iframes to avoid the fireball, but to kind of knock back the Lionel. It doesn't stun the Lionel, but knocks them back a little bit. That's a really, really slick strat there. I like that. Just 3 bombs there in Spike Cave. So we are in full-on Cane of Samaria hunt mode on Falcon's side of the screen as we inch our way towards the 1 hour mark in this race. Let's do a brief reset here. This is week 2 of the A Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 2. This match between Falcon of Team It's Mitts and Sneaky Wombat of Team Hot Dish. I guess just Team Hot Dish. My name is Tyler Saul. I'm here with Arusa here. This is an Ambrosia seed, if you're not familiar. That means that at the very beginning of the seed, it's a standard seed, very beginning of the seed, the uncle, as he's in the house, spoiled the location of the boots for us. In this case, they were in Ganon's tower, helpfully enough. And we know that each of the dungeons, the boss of the dungeon is going to have an actual item on it, and not a dungeon item like that. The winner of each match in the league getting 3 points, like in international soccer, you might be familiar with, that sort of thing. And this is the first match of week 2 between these 2 teams.
Yes, and just as an update, so basically Falcon is just looking for the red cane, because once he gets Cane of Samaria, he can finish off these last 2 crystals. Actually, specifically can finish off Meyer. He's in Ice Palace now, and so will presumably full clear Ice Palace to get his items. Sneaky, however, still needs to finish off Pod here, then do Tower of Hera. The big thing that Sneaky is behind here, if you're wondering what the difference in this race is that Sneaky took an unfortunate death and escape early, and then has done a bunch of overworld checks which did not pay off at all. He took a Death Mountain gamble early on with only two locations available there. He did the Zora area for nothing. He did Catfish for nothing. He's already turned in the Mushroom for nothing, and that's just really what's the difference in this race thus far.
So we see Falcon setting up for the Ice Palace bomb jump. Nicely done.
Which makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's often a good play in general, but the biggest point when you can save time is anytime you don't necessarily need to clear the entire dungeon, which, knowing that one item is on the boss and he's only looking for one item, means that there's a decent chance that might be the case. If you have to full clear the dungeon, it's pretty much the same. People have different opinions on that, but that's the real benefit, is if you can save yourself some time.
Especially if you don't have the Cane of Samaria. That's pretty key there. Falcon found the big key there. Still looking, I think, for the second item. Again, we know the third is going to be on Cold Stare. Those bombs actually might have been the first item.
I think those bombs were the first item, yeah.
Yeah.
But with the big key, basically now the rest of the dungeon he can go ahead and clear. Not have to worry about coming back, so.
Yep, the big key in hand and a small key to get into Iced Tea Room. This should be pretty straightforward from this point out. You hope that you get this second item down here in the freezer chest. And there it is. It's a big 20. Still not what we're looking for, but Falcon can skip the big chest, can skip Iced Tea chest, and right down into his fight with Cold Stare. And where is that Cane of Samaria? That is what we were looking for here on Falcon's side of the screen. And every check that he does without finding that cane is a little bit more for Sneaky Bat to catch up. Remember, one of the reasons Sneaky Bat seems so far behind right now is that he's done a lot of overworld checks that Falcon hasn't. So we could see a lot of those overworld checks coming up right here without any dungeons that are really shouting out to be searched.
Yeah, especially since right now Sneak Bat's going to do his Death Mountain check, so he's going to get his second sword, and he's going to be in the same position where basically one item from go mode. Probably do his second sword, and then of course do Hera, so he'll basically be done. Right now he's about a dungeon and a half behind, give or take.
Pretty solid Cold Stare fight. The Puff got away from him a little bit. Just 10 arrows there, so Ice Palace a bust other than for the crystal here. If you're Falcon, obviously you want that Cane of Samaria. The last thing that you want to see is the mirror, because that opens up a check. That opens up Swamp Palace, a green pendant Swamp Palace, which, frankly, I wouldn't be surprised in the least if that's where the Cane of Samaria is at this point.
Yeah, the mirror not only locks Swamp Palace, it locks a bunch of other things. It locks the Bombos tablet, which someone tossed out in chat as a possible location. It locks that in K45/Circle of Bushes, whatever you want to call it. So, Yeah, I mean, you really don't want to see Mir at this point.
We see Falcon heading up to Hobo and Zora. These are checks that we know are going to come up empty because Wombat has already done them. The lesson here, kids, always accept mushrooms from strange men under bridges.
Yeah, and one thing to note here is that Sneakbat did Spiral Cave and then went into the dark area of the mountain, which makes sense in terms of number of item locations. However, without Mir, this means he's going to have to eat a save and quit in order to get back to Light World.
Yeah, an unfortunate routing choice there. You can see Falcon starting to get a little frustrated, looking for that Cave of Samaria. He's going to head up to Zora now. Again, that's going to come up empty for him. One thing we can say with certainty is that the pedestal is dead. We didn't get a ped check, but since Turtle Rock is a pendant, Cane of Samaria can't be there. So.
Yes, and also for those of you who came in late to chat, Agate is also not viable because Lumberjack has a sword, but boots are in Ganon's tower, so. Meanwhile, as we just see some checks that we've already seen here, just toss out that please follow our runners. Shout outs to our tracker, Edidum, excuse me, I'm mispronouncing her name, and then also our restreamer Math Girl. You're watching on the ALTTPR League. If you're not familiar, please check the website, alttprleague.com.
I would think a Pyramid Fairy check is in Falcon's future, but he's going to go into Desert first. Oh, faked me out, just checking the ledge.
Oh, is he going to do the one-item Mire?
Ooh, that is, that takes some guts. You know what? I admire the moxie, is what I do. I admire the moxie here.
Yeah, it's definitely a Kane and Mire play, though the one thing to remember is that since this is Ambrosia, you know at least one item is on Vitreous that you can't get to. So you're going in here for one item and hoping that white item is the one you need.
But you know what? If it pays off big. So I like the big swing here. And besides, like, this is, you know, No, never mind. I was about to say something that isn't true, and I stopped myself. No, I do not believe, just to answer a question in chat, I do not believe we have checked the dig spot yet. Our runners got that up on Death Mountain, and I do not think that Falcon has headed over there to dig up the item in the Haunted Grove.
Correct. Neither runner has checked dig spot. There is also the 2 items on Pyramid Fairy available. There is potentially something in Desert. Without boots, you know there's basically a 50-50 chance that you're going absolutely nowhere, but it's possible the item could be in the regular chest, or that regular chest could lead to what you need. So yeah, this Mire play is definitely a gutsy play right here.
You know, we're running out of spots, though. I gotta say. I'm not sure. Frankly, I'm not sure what, like, you've got this one check in Mire, right? You can't get into Turtle Rock. You can't get into Swamp. You've got one item in Desert that's accessible, maybe. You've got the shovel check. You've got Pyramid Ferret, and you do have the Smith Chain, which neither runner has done. We've seen we've seen Magic Bat from Sneaky Wombat, but none of the other Smith Chain checks. No Hammer Pegs, no Smiths, no Purple Chest. So I imagine those are going to be weighing on his mind as well before too long.
Yeah, and the thing for Falcon is that at this point he's kind of isolated. Without Mir, there's no super easy way to get there, because he's already done basically everything in the village, everything in that area. So if he goes back to pick up the Smith from Village of Outcasts, saves and quits, he's basically doing it just for that.
Yeah, but at this point, there really aren't any checks at this point that aren't isolated. They're all kind of cut off from each other at this point.
Yeah, definitely. There's no checks at this point that really jump off the page as, oh yeah, this looks fantastic. Really, I might say the Pyramid Fairy is the only one where you'd even get more than one check at a time.
Yeah, if you count the Smith Chain all as separate checks, for sure. Although for Falcon, that's at least one series of 4 checks. We know one of them's going to come up empty. Just a key in the vanilla chest, in the vanilla big chest there. For the cane, is it here? Nope. He was really hoping to avoid doing that, the cutscene chest, but the vanilla big key chest looks like that is where our one item in the front of Misery Mire is. We'll see if that pays off. Big gamble for a Falcon coming in here without the cane.
Meanwhile, on Sneak Bat's side, about to enter the Trolldorm fight, and so once he finishes this, he will be basically a full Ice Palace behind, and then wherever they need to go to pick up the cane.
I was about to say Wombat giving me heartburn over there with Trolldorm there takes an unfortunate fall. The trick with Moldorm, I actually find the hammer fight really straightforward. You just watch the head. Wherever the head goes, the tail is going to follow, and you can just dodge right out of the way. Ooh, just 3 bombs there. The Mire play does not play off. I like the cojones there with that play, because if it pays off, that's it. That's GG, essentially. So that does help Sneaky Wombat a little bit. Falcon wasting some time there.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like if you're Falcon, the play you have to at least try is Bomb Shop, which is what he looks like he's doing, because there you at least get two checks for the price of one.
Yeah, this is the clear best play at this point, is Pyramid Fairy. I would say followed by the Smith Chain. Yeah, Wombat might be headed right to Pyramid Fairy as well, pulling out that hammer. Nope, no, Wombat's going to turn in the shovel first, looks like. We know Wombat is an Ice Pals behind here, but this sort of feels like the last 2 players in a poker tournament almost. They're like heads up. They're just looking for that last thing. Here. Doesn't find it at the dig spot. We'll see if the Fat Fairy is going to come up big for us today. I just noticed that on Wombat's map, instead of Batman's head, it's a bat signal, and I appreciate that. There's the Cane of Samaria in Pyramid Fairy at 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 50 seconds. Falcon is in go mode. He'll head right back to Misery Mire and make his way through the rest of this seed. Wombat is going to get his Cane of Samaria, will be in go mode shortly thereafter. Is an Ice Palace behind, will be able to go mode it, and will be able to go mode Mire. And so we'll pick up a little bit of time, but definitely still has some time to make up here. Is really going to be helping on perhaps a Galaxy Brain big key play in Ganon's Tower, or an execution mistake from Falcon to stay in this race. Oh, come on, DFS. That's just rude. Calling for a Ganon fall. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. That's Twitch chat for you, I guess.
Yeah, so for those of you keeping track at home, it's pretty much about a minute 20 difference there in when they enter go mode, but as noted, Falcon is a full Ice Palace ahead, and at this point is pretty much about halfway through Mire ahead, 2/3. Doesn't have to do the big key checks anymore.
Sneaky is still making checks.
I wonder if that might just be because he knows he's right here and he got those 2 checks, which are fairly quick if you're already right there, maybe hoping for another sword or some silvers to make his Ganon fight easier.
Yeah, I was gonna say he definitely got his Master Sword that was in Paradox Cave. So that's just the tracker being the tracker software being a little bit behind. Yeah, you can see that he's got the Master Sword there. Falcon heading into that Vitreous fight. Once Vitty is down, you know what that means. Time for America's favorite game.
Very nice cape strats there. Always good to do if you can, because it makes it a lot easier and quicker than just trying to shoot, 20 arrows.
I'm a big fan of cape strats whenever possible. All right, it's time for the big key guessing game in Ganon's Tower. There are 22 locations in the basement of Ganon's Tower. One of them has that big key in it. Get your numbers in. I saw Arusta pick 1.
No, I was trying to pick 17, to be honest.
Oh, no. Well, you picked 17. I saw the 1 go by. 1 is often my check. But I saw that 1. It's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going Tile Room. Going 22. I'm hoping for, not rooting against Falcon or anything like that, or for Sneaky, but I'm rooting for a Galaxy Brain Tile Room play from Sneaky there.
And one thing I'm actually not sure about the logic on, maybe or maybe chat can help us out, is if the boots are in Ganon's Tower, is Torch possible? Or do you need to be able to get Torch, like if it's on Torch, you have to have boots before you enter?
Ooh. I don't know. That is a good question. People are asking if the number is set on when Falcon checks it. I'm assuming I picked 22 for Tile Room because I'm assuming that Falcon will check it last, like most people do.
Okay, and well, thank you to X Cryptics for confirming that if boots are in GT, Torch is possible. Really appreciate it. Also, same for Oro, who had just confirmed that.
Right. Of course, they cannot be up the tower.
Correct.
Up the gauntlet. They would have to be somewhere in the basement, and couldn't be in the that most elusive of all locations, the Ganon's Tower big chest. Falcon into GT at 1 hour 22 minutes. 13 points awarded to the winner as Falcon heads into Hope Room for checks 1 and 2. Nothing doing there so far. Yeah.
Without a key, you cannot continue full right. So, gonna go, of course, presumably full left. Without a mirror, Dark Magician strats where you go back and forth really don't make sense.
The map there on Bob's torch for check 3. Well, there must be the tempered sword must have been on Vitreous, because he has that. Let's see, that's checks 4 through 7 coming up empty. Check 8 in the fire bar room is the fire shield. If you check out Sneaky's side, just there, putting the cape to great use. If you turn on the cape and you spam your sword button, as long as you are swinging that sword, the cape doesn't use magic. It's great. Check number 9 there, a small key, excuse me. Still haven't seen the boots yet either.
Yes, but since we saw it's there you go. I would imagine you want to check these last 2 chests.
That is, I believe that was chest 11, if I'm not mistaken. 10, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, that was 11, because those 4 chests are 10 through 13. The interesting thing here is, of course, without mirror, you kind of have no easy way to get out of here.
All right, so the winner of the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game is John Boy 81918. Congratulations with a guess of 11. 13 points to you. Good job. Gotta love those points. Everybody loves points.
And the special DLC content here with the big chest that you almost never see.
And the red meringue. Wow, John Boy 81918, 77 points. Burn the witch. Falcon playing it very safe through there, trying to at least, not just walking over the spikes.
Yeah, I think if you're Falcon, you have to be feeling pretty good at this point with knowing that he hasn't made any major mistakes, like unfortunate deaths or anything. outside of a few overworld checks while looking for Kane, the seed's gone pretty smooth for him. So I feel like you have to feel like you want to just make sure you don't do anything really dumb here in Ganon's Tower and potentially cost yourself the lead you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. I might head it up here. I might consider checking the chests up at the top of the gauntlet. Boots isn't really going to help you much at this point, but Silvers might.
Yeah, I mean, I would still check, at least to check a couple of the chests, the ones that are easy to check, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way for much.
No, luckily these last 4 chests are very in the way. Saw Sneaky pulling off the Ice Palace bomb jump there. Very nice. As Falcon heads into the gauntlet, some nice arrow drops there. Very helpful. Some of the trickiest rooms in the game here. There are lots of different strats for taking down these enemies. There are lots of conveyor belts. There's spikes. There's ice. There's Beamos. Not a good time. Especially without the boots. Boots are really helpful up here, I find.
Yeah, the one thing that is nice for Falcon is I believe they have at least one fairy in a bottle. They have, if they want more, they could get another right here. So I think they've got a decent amount of safeties, especially with Blue Nail and 12 Hearts as well.
Half magic as well. Gonna make this a little bit easier. As we see our only Lanmolus fight of the seed. Being a little bit trolly there.
Yeah, and it definitely makes sense to switch back to Tempered Sword for those last couple hits because you really don't want to run out of magic here. Because while it's possible to kill these guys with, just a sword, it's never fun.
No, it's not fun, and I gotta tell you, it's super fun to do it with the Cane of Samaria. The most satisfying rooms in the entire game to do, in my opinion, is these Wizard rooms with the cane. Oh, just missed. Turns up his nose at that full magic refill. I might have gotten that one, I gotta say.
Yeah, with full magic, actually even without full magic, there's enough magic in this room that you could do it without it, but yeah, I mean, I probably would have grabbed it as well.
Yeah, we'll certainly see him pick up the full magic right here to get the refill, but also to kill some time and make sure that he doesn't despawn the top of the tower. If you go up those stairs while the door closing chime is playing, then suddenly all of the sprites up here are gone, and you are soft locked. And gotta save and quit, since it's in here. Which would be a bad time. Doesn't quite get the bomb jump, the bomb throw the first time. So we see Sneaky making his way up to Ganon's tower. All right, what's more likely here? Well, I mean, obviously the boots are more likely, but boots or silvers here in Moldorm's final chest, do we think?
I think silvers.
Nope, just bombs. So we have a silverless Ganon fight coming up here for Falcon. It has Tempered Sword, so that makes it a little bit nicer. Certainly, much nicer than with Master Sword, where you got to do spins. Falcon headed into the Aga 2 fight. This is one of the toughest fights in the game to do quickly and to do consistently. Although Falcon coming up with really nice setups here. Oh, the blue ball there. Tough break there. But there's a lot of RNG in this fight. A lot of angles that you have to play. It can be very difficult to do this consistently. But nice triple there at the end to bring it home for Falcon and send him into the fight with the big pig.
Meanwhile, Sneak Bat's doing pretty much going to end up doing the same route that Falcon did, so not even going to gain the little bit of time he might have gained by skipping Hope Room. I feel like I should know what that Ganon's quote was referenced to, but I can't place it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. My brain wants to say it's like a Taylor Swift song. That doesn't seem likely.
That was what I was thinking too, but I would guess they probably would try to avoid something like that.
Nice job avoiding those fire bats there for Falcon into phase 3. Ooh, better be careful. 2.5 hearts. These last 2 phases of Ganon should be pretty safe, but if you dawdle getting over there and he throws out a fire bat, you're gonna have a bad time.
So arrows and Turtle Rock, so not somewhere we ever would have gone.
And without the silver arrows, we have to do these spins. Slashes work too, but spins are a little bit easier to work out. Just kind of as Ganon is just about to teleport. You can't quite see the flash very well on the stream, but you'll, if you're doing this, you'll hear him make the ooh noise if you get it right at the right time. You need, I believe, is it 12 of these with Tempered Sword?
Yes, 12 with the Tempered Sword. And the interesting thing is that while you can do it with just a regular sword slash with Tempered, it's really just doesn't make sense because the frame window you have to hit him in with the spin, I believe it's 9 frames if I have that right, whereas the direct slash is only like 2 or 3, so it's significantly tighter to do.
And there it is. Get your GGs in chat for Falcon. Gonna cross that bridge here in just a moment and finish in first place in this race with official SRL time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 31 seconds. GG to Falcon securing 3 points for its mitts here in week number 2.
And I believe Falcon said was willing to come in for an interview, so we'll see if we can get that set up here in the next minute or so. Oh, there we go. Hello, Falcon. Congratulations.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very well done there, Falcon. Seems like everything went pretty smoothly for you, I would say. What were your first thoughts coming off this scene?
Well, my first thought was crap. Because I'm cold. I said, I just kind of read that text and I said, no!
With the boots in Ganon's tower. Yeah, no, because, you never like to see that. So
well,
they must have been over on the right side.
It's not the funniest thing, but anyway, paradoxically, that scene went, it went smoothly, and all this time I spent a lot of time to look only for one item, but I'm actually very close to my best time. Just I had chosen to do that pyramid first. I would probably have beaten my time by at least 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes.
Oh wow! Well, it's always going to come down to something like that. But yeah, I got to say, it was a very, very good time. I actually, we were talking about it when you went into Meyer. We appreciated the bravery, the balls that takes there to go into Meyer for one item, just hoping that it's the Canis Mario. Because if it's what you need, man, it's legendary. It's going to pay off really big. Didn't work out for you, but definitely appreciated the gumption you showed in that.
Yeah, I decided to go at last. I still wait for a bit because I believe that I did all the water checks before, and I went to I did all those water checks after ice, and I think that after that I went to Meyer. But I had to take the risk, I had absolutely no idea where my opponent was, and also I had left behind, easy places like the Magic Bat, the Pyramid, Catfish. So I was starting to get worried, so that's why I took that risk.
Yeah, and really, that was probably the biggest difference in the race is that early on, Sneaky Bat did a lot of those overworld checks and got all those areas you just mentioned. Sneakbat had checked and got 0 from them. Like basically not even full heart containers, if I remember right, from any of them. Just straight up pieces of heart or
there was
garbage.
Nothing. No unique items. There's just nothing useful there from all of those overworld checks that ended up being.
But we had so many items just before going into pod, and I went out of pod. I said, okay, fuck Pyramid, fuck Catfish. I'm going to all this Skullwood Sea Town. And I hesitate. I was tempted to go directly into Ice Palace. Because I could finish it, but the mountain had so many objects that there's like 15, 16 objects, I think. Yeah. Oh, sorry for my language, by the way. In French, it's not that bad.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. Thanks, Skeptic, for telling me. So yeah, I went with the locations where we have many objects.
Yeah, I think all of that was absolutely defensible. You put off Ice Palace kind of as long as you can, hoping that you find the cane somewhere else so that you can go mode. It doesn't quite work out for you, but you handle yourself very well in there as well. Yeah, really the only thing that really you could have done differently was check Pyramid Fairy like one check earlier, and it would have worked out a little bit better. But I certainly can't fault you for that. Very, very well done.
Thank you very much. It went well. A couple of small mistakes in executions, but it's fine. I was just sad to never find the books. They are probably in Tyro or some maybe in after Ice Armor or something like this. It was interesting in GP because I had kind of, either I take a death warp or I just go to the end because no VR.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about too, is how do you really route this? It's kind of awkward when you don't have a mirror because that's the one area you can't actually backtrack from immediately.
Yeah, I was not sure if it was faster to just... it was faster to get rid of the fairy and just, take a death warp. I guess that if I remember that I had a blue potion in stock, probably that I would have done that. Because I think I had a blue potion. Yes, I had. So should have just gotten rid of the fairy, take the death warp. But I was also hoping maybe for the boots and the big chest. That's why I opened it.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I think if for nothing, I wouldn't have blamed you just doing it for swag. That's fine. If you're in the room with the Ganon big chest, just open it. That's what I say.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not often that you get to see a GT big chest open, in a regular scene. It's kind of never.
Ooh, I gotta say, Wombat is in the Aga 3 fight. I believe just got a triple on the first cycle. It's very slick. Gotta hate when those times fly by. Pegasus boots, never. Mirror, never. It's always fun. As Sneak Bat is headed into his Ganon fight. Let's see how that goes. I don't know if either of you guys are playing Fantasy, but I gotta say, you've got 0 bonks from Falcon. Good way to not lose any points in LCTBR Fantasy is to never find the booth.
Yeah, in fact, not only am I playing Fantasy, I'm one of the volunteers who's scoring it, so I'm actually doing that as the numbers come across here, to be honest.
Well, there you go. Sneak Bat pulling out that cape. Take care of Ganon here. Into phase 3. Ooh. Takes a fortunate fire bat there. Able to get the torch glitch. Just 4 hearts though. Gotta be careful. Yeesh. Who knows?
I believe Sneak Bat still has a fairy.
Oh, there's the fall. I hate to see that. It's like he had a fairy and a red potion and a green potion. He's going to give it another go. So, props to Wombat for finishing out this seed. Appreciate it. Ooh, nice. Oh, just a good B. Oh well. That was a heads-up play there. I like that. I gotta remember to do that next time I take a Ganon fall, because it definitely will happen. Pop into that Pyramid Fairy if it's open. Throw an empty bottle in there. See what you...
Yeah, and the other thing, doesn't matter here because they don't have boots, but that tree right at the bottom of the stairs also has a guaranteed fairy in it, so that's always nice as well if you need it.
Ah, yes. Alright, this should be phase 2 now for Sneak Bat. Here come the Fire Bats. Nice hook shot strats there to avoid the damage using those items. Ooh, he's got to be careful though. Previously mentioned, he does have that fairy. Can afford 1, maybe 2 hits total, I think. Ooh, misses the torch glitch. It's going to make this significantly tighter. Has half magic, has a green potion. Should be okay with half magic. But it is going to make it a little bit more awkward.
And I like the decision there to wait just a second before lighting those torches. When you have to light both of them, you really want to make sure they're always synced up, because otherwise it can be kind of miserable.
Ooh, and he had a blue potion. That's nice. Oh man, I gotta tell you, those spins when you're on the outside of him and the you're gonna fall down. Oh man, you gotta be careful with those. And as you were just saying, Arusta, he's kind of out of sync on the torches now. It's gonna make this significantly more difficult. You'd be well advised to just let it go. All right, they're a little bit closer now. That should be better.
Yeah, I want to say he's only got 1 or 2 hits left.
Switches over to the lamp. Out of potions. Ooh. Oh, no. Wombat, no. Oh, he hit the fairy. Oh, jeez. Woo. I totally forgotten about the fairy. We had just talked about that. Got to be only 1 or 2 more hits here.
Oh, there we go.
There
right
we
as
go.
he was probably did not have enough magic to do it another time.
I don't think that he did. Get your GGs in chat for Sneaky Wombat taking down Ganon. An official SRL time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, 59 seconds. GG to Sneaky Wombat. Hopefully we can get Sneaky in here for an interview. And there he is, Sneakbat, GG.
GG.
Your tone of voice. And say your tone of voice sort of says everything. What are your thoughts here?
That sure was a bootsless seed. I kind of knew something bad was going to happen right when Uncle said the boots are in Ganon's tower. Like, oh good, this is wonderful.
Same reaction for me. Yeah, boots.
Despite some mistakes on my part, I think I played decently. I could think of some major routing errors that I did. And
really the aside from the Ganon fall and the unfortunate death in the escape sequence, really what the difference ended up coming down to was you made a couple overworld checks pretty early on that just did not pan out even a little bit for you. Can you talk about your thought process there? I don't necessarily think it was the wrong play. Certainly, it just didn't quite work out there. Those gambles with the overworld checks at the beginning.
That's what it was. I rolled the dice and I was like, you know what, this is open. I'm gonna clear it out and be a little bit more conservative, and ended up not being the fastest way to do it. I gambled later on, that worked out, but yeah, the overworld stuff didn't.
Yeah, but even right at the end, Falcon had a bit of trouble finding the red cane, and so that ended up doing a lot of those checks. But unfortunately, since Falcon did those right at the end with flute already activated, with hook shot, all that, Falcon was able to route those in a little more easily. Whereas a lot of the times when you did them, unfortunately, it was complete one-offs, or they were sort of standalone. And you also did, I think, a few extra checks that did absolutely nothing, unfortunately. Just the seed was the seed.
No, I don't know. Did you do the Smith chain by any chance, or?
No, I skipped that.
You
I
skipped
skipped
that?
those one too.
I want to skip the Smith chain at all costs. Without the mirror, it's bad.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it either.
Yeah, we did see a magic bat check from Sneaknap, but not the rest of this game.
Yeah, I think I fluted around, did mushroom, magic bat, dig spot, all those places. Didn't really pan out.
Yeah, and a lot of those checks Falcon ended up making as well. Unfortunately, just lost you enough time that you weren't able to make it up there. What do you guys think about this Ambrosia preset here that we're using in this week 2 of the league? Relatively new addition to the Rando landscape. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, Ambrosia is a setup that I've played a bit before, and I really like this. The only part I don't like is the standard part, because I hate to do escape first. But the dungeon routing, due to the fact that there's always an item on the boss, makes it extremely interesting. It allows us to, skip. Like in Ice Palace today, I could skip easily Big Chest and Ice Tea Room because I got the second object in the freezer room. So that helps, and it's fun. I think it's very fun.
Yeah, that's always a cool thing if you remember that you're playing an Ambrosia seed.
Yeah. Well, in a race, in a race setting, I think that you normally, you are much more concentrated than during a friendly race with people, and when you talk to people while racing, you are not as concentrated as you are in a race. So we don't forget these things, I guess, or we try.
I certainly hope I don't a little bit later this week in my match. So
yeah, don't forget Ambrosia.
Speaking of later matches, these two teams will face off again a little bit later this week on Thursday, the 12th, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time, with Lady Box Thief versus Little Ms. Arcade scheduled to be over on Speed Gaming 4. So you can check that out and check out these two teams as they match up once again in week number 2. And then I believe next week in the league is our Animizer race, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's Animizer. Standard open seed with Animizer activated.
Full boss shuffle, I believe. That's one of the weeks that I have off in the league. So I'll be watching my teammates struggle with Animizer. That should be fun. Either of you have any Animizer experience?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to race next week with the Animizer. It's another interesting part, because you can, in pod just kind of break the logic, but you don't break it because you have access to the right side. So always interesting.
I like the logic skips that you can do based on what enemies are there. Sometimes it's vanilla. It's weird, but it's something I plan on having fun with.
Yeah. That's a nice setting.
Yeah, the one nice and subtle thing is, especially as you mentioned, that when it rotates enemies, it cannot give you enemies like a red Igor. So something like Pod, where you'd normally not be able to get through without the bow. Pod, you still have the statue, but something like Eastern, where you'd normally need the bow, you may or may not need the bow to get through there.
Yeah. I just hope I'm not going to get something like, Fighter Sword Vitius and Skullwood. It's probably one of the worst thing ever.
Oh, guys.
Now that you mention that, now that you
Oh, no.
I
mention
got it
that,
once and it's...
How
it's
long-
not fun.
how long were you on Fighter Sword? Because I felt like I was on Fighter Sword forever.
Until I went to the mountain, I got a sword into Shut Cave, maybe, or something like this.
Yeah, I think that sword was in Paradox Cave.
That's
and,
right.
Paradox, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
it took a while for both of you to get up there, for sure.
And then it's funny because I finished off Vitrius. I just said to Vitrius, "Come on, give me a sword." I got a sword. I was kind of happy to get this. All right, let's go.
We made the same gamble then, because I said, oh, he's got an item. Let's see if it's a sword.
Yeah, and obviously neither of you. So I'm not sure. Falcon, did you ever check Lumberjack? I don't remember whether each of you checked Lumberjack.
Well, I had absolutely no reason to check Lumberjack.
Sure.
Because
that
I
was
did.
that was your last sword there on Lumberjack.
Yeah, I
All
checked
right.
it just out of habit.
Yeah, and
there it
I
was.
never even entered into the library because, I knew it was not progression. The only thing it could have told me is, let's say I see a mirror in there, then it just tells me, alright, I don't need to worry about mirror locations. But it changed nothing because if you don't find a mirror, you don't have to worry about this anyway. So.
Right, absolutely. All right, folks. I think we should probably get everybody out of here. Any last thoughts? Any last words from either of our runners?
Thanks for the restream and everything, and good luck, Sneaky, for the rest of the league match. Enjoy and good
You too.
continuation.
You too, buddy. That was sure a seed that we played.
Mhm.